Hello and welcome to the Dad and Sons podcast. Today we have Liam.
Hello there.
And George. And me. It's
George.
just me. And
Hi, me.
Hi me too.
You're both looking pretty sus.
Are we? I have like hard lighting right now. So like one side of my face is like extremely
pretty
dark.
sus. You're in the dark. Have you turned the lights off? Are you trying to kill George? Are you?
I mean, I'm kind of like greasy and overexposed. So,
Yeah, you're definitely not the imposter.
but I'm still as sus as normal.
Oh,
Did
no.
you say Seuss or sus?
Sus.
What are the kids doing?
Sus.
Sus?
Would you say sus for suspicious or sus? Suspicious.
But when you say
sus.
suspicious, that first syllable is more of a sus.
Yeah,
sus,
so
suspicious. Yeah, okay.
So that's why I'm saying
okay.
sus. Suspicious. Sus. You're pretty sus. We're even questioning that.
What? No, you're pretty sus.
In fact, it's quite funny we're saying sus over and over again because in Welsh, sus means kiss. So you can
That's
give
like
me
the
you can give me a
opposite.
sus. You can give me a sus anytime.
Has all the groups you've been playing have been good or sus in Among Us? Like how
I will admit
because it's very easy to have a shitty group.
it is
so,
very easy.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to have too low a number for the game to be good.
Yeah.
So, for those who don't know, we're talking about Among Us, the latest hype craze.
The hot new shit.
All the kids are talking about it. Everywhere you go, you just run into Among Us memes,
Sus people.
Mhm.
and it's taking over. It's the hottest, biggest craze since Advice Animals. The reviews are smashing out through the roof, and not really though, because did you guys know that game came out 2 years ago?
Yes, that's kind of the whole story about Among Us. Indeed.
That's pretty darn wild.
I mean, it was on a phone first.
There
Yeah.
is a secret explanation as to this that people keep missing. It's very easy to say it, but yes, the game came out 2 years ago and was not popular in English-speaking countries, but it had 1 million plus players across Korea and Brazil for a long time. So it wasn't that
Wow.
not successful.
That's so strange.
But it
Yeah.
tells you
That-
the power of streamers because it was one streamer, I think, in the UK who played it with a couple of friends. Then another streamer played it, and then bada ding, bada boom,
That's how
60
it goes,
million
man.
Steam sales or whatever the hell.
And those are such disparate markets. Like Korea and Brazil, it's a like totally different language and internet
Yeah.
infrastructure.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's basic, and it's a game that you can play with any of your friends. I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure like a lot of us have friends all over the world.
I played it under a bridge on phones with
Yes.
I was literally on the I think it was Saturday last weekend. Got trapped in like a quick thunderstorm and it was pissing it down with rain. And we were stuck under a bridge with some beer and there was 7 of us and I was like, "Oh, shit, have you guys played Among Us?" Because it was literally the day after Matt and me played with our Discord community for the first time. And it was one of the best multiplayer experiences I had in ages.
In a
It was
long
so much
time.
fun.
Yes.
So
Wait,
much fun.
wait. Did you just say you're playing with strangers in real
No,
life?
no.
Okay,
No.
okay.
It was friends. And I was like, but everybody had a mobile, right? And the game's free on mobile. It's tiny. So I was like, oh, let's just download it and play. And we played like within 5 minutes under that bridge. And I was like, this is really good. But people's reactions in real life was giving it away because I could see, you could see everybody's faces for real and you could tell their reactions were giving it away, which did take
Yeah.
away from it a little bit. But when we
Yeah.
played with the Discord, so I think this is what kicked me and Matt off about liking it and trying to drag you in. I know you'd wanted to play, but you weren't awake at the time. I think we were on a random call and then everyone was like, should we try Among Us?
Yeah.
And I had not played it and I was looking forward to it. And then everyone was like, okay, jumped in. And then we played for like 2 hours and with the community.
while.
And it was
Yeah.
a hella good time. So much fun.
I didn't even have it. I was just like, yeah, fuck. And like,
Yeah, me neither. I was like, I'm
bought
going to buy it.
Just
I'm going to buy it right
went
now.
out.
It's $5. Let's do it.
The best $5 I've ever spent. And let me tell you, man, I think that's what you said too. Like, you're the best $5 I've ever
It's the best
spent.
$5 I ever spent. It's the best cheap game I bought.
Yeah, like when you have a good group, it's just so good, man. When people, the thing is, you have to be quiet when the game is going. You have to mute yourself. Like if you're playing on Discord, like the game doesn't work if you're not muting yourself. If you're not like, you give it away. It's too easy to dissect what someone's doing when they're talking.
I wanted to ask about that because I was playing in a very different group of like old college buddies for a couple of nights over the past week. There were 5 of us, 2 of whom are super duper non-gamers and like had trouble setting up Discord and stuff. But I was really surprised at how easily they were able to adapt to the game.
Yes.
But one problem that we kept running into was trying to make those rules for the voice chat and like trying to enforce that to a degree. I think your group seriously does a lot to capture this magic, because don't think my group did it as well.
It's weird because this game like is successful. I mean, it's majorly successful, right? It's like Fall Guys numbers at the moment, but it requires like, it's so easy to play, and that obviously was in its favor, but it requires at least 6, I would say, people for it to be really fun. And then what you need is, if you can get a full lobby and you can get quite a few people, you need to have everybody on those ground rules, which is deafen yourself. And if everybody does that, which to be fair, in our Discord community game, it was perfect because everybody did it. And it is such an amazing feeling to be talking really fast and everybody's talking blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you press deafen and then you're alone walking around on the spaceship, seeing your friends pass by, and you can't hear them and you can't talk to them. And then something happens and then boom, undeafen. And then everyone's like,
yeah, exactly. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute. Liam's dead. Matt's dead. Wait, what? And then because we're still deafened because you don't press on deafen when you're dead. It's just so good, and you know who the killer is. You just sit back and you're watching the mayhem go.
You die, and
because always one person is streaming, so we just, there's a law. Obviously, don't watch the stream.
And that's another thing is like, don't watch the stream. Everybody was really courteous about that. And
and it worked out. It worked. It worked out, man. So you get good reactions. Like, what? You're the fucking killer. Like, it's just so good. It's when it works, it fucking works, man.
Listening to people justify why they're not the killer, and they are because they fucking stabbed you in the back when you were in like the aircon room or something. Like, and you're listening to them, and you're like, you sneaky, sneaky bastard. You fucking sneaky bastard. And you can't but applaud their efforts. That one round where I managed to convince everybody that I was not the imposter and killed Matt and then killed Aubrey. It was so good.
So good. Yeah.
I'm bummed that my group didn't have that. What we ended up doing was trying to fill that gap with internet strangers. And that game's numbers are so huge that it inevitably attracts a lot of bad elements.
Yeah.
And I have not pressed the kick button as many times in many other games as I did in this one, those 2 nights.
So that's the thing. I don't know why you would ever want to play this game without playing with friends. Like, I understand if you don't have any friends and that sucks, but the game is not good enough for me to want to jump back in and be like, oh my God, I need to play that game again. It's that in my head, I'm like, I need to play with those people again. I need to play with those people again. Like, not the game. The game is a vessel for hilarity and fun. And I think fair play to Among Us. I mean, it does 2 things for me. One, I'm like, having a great time with great people and everyone's having a great time. And the second is it makes me feel like I'm playing a Flash game on Newgrounds again, which is awesome. Looks so like something from Newgrounds.
I miss that.
Yeah. And so but it's not like a game I'm wanting to, it's not like I play a round of Titanfall with everybody. I'm like, that was a great game with great people. I want to continue playing Titanfall. I'll go play with randos now. I'm like, I'm just going to wait until everybody plays Among Us again. Like, I'm itching. It's like when you play a good board game and you want to bring everybody back over to play the board game again. I'm not going to just go into the street and start playing my board game with randoms. It's a special experience I had with friends, and it feels kind of like that with Among Us.
Yeah. It's good shit, man.
I want to ask Matt, like, because I haven't played, but you did play the first time, which was Unfortunate Spaceman and Among Us. Like, are they similar, or like, and which one did you prefer? Which one were you having a better time with?
Among Us is definitely better, in my opinion. It's just better. Like you interact with everyone a lot better. Like Unfortunate Spaceman, you're just a monster, and everyone's talking to each other all the time. It's so easy to be caught of like because everyone sees each other and you can all just group up together the whole time, right? So there can always be like 3 people next to each other, and there's only one monster, so you're eventually gonna get caught. You know, it's not like Among Us where you just press the kill button, go inside a vent, and you're gone. You can literally sneak by someone because the field of view is so small. Yeah. Sometimes if you do it around the corner, you can actually kill someone right in front of people.
How easy it is to kill people in that game. It makes it like even better. Just anybody can play the imposter if they are like half not a monkey. Like anybody can play.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's about the conversation. It's about where were you? And catching people out of like,
asking them where they were and stuff like
where they were. Like, oh, you were there. Yeah. So I feel like that's way better than just fucking randomly being a monster and trying to kill someone as fast as you can. As a glitchy ass monster. Not to say Unfortunate Spaceman is a bad game, but Among Us is definitely for me the better game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like when I think a lot of Among Us success can be lent to the fact that anybody can play it and literally you can play around and immediately understand it. Like the tasks are point and click tasks. But the one thing I do like, which is that once you played the imposter enough times, you can start, learning how to sabotage the ship a bit smart, and you can embed yourself. Like you can sabotage a room and be in there and be like, oh guys, help me fix it, and trick everybody. But it doesn't detract from when people are smart enough to be like, where were you? So even though there are levels to it and you can kind of get good at understanding the experience of the game, it still comes down to that like public opinion and like how can you sway people? How can you do a Crusader King sway on a whole group?
Yeah. What you do is you immediately ask where the body was after you kill that person who was the body. From there on out, it's just a Rube Goldberg domino chain reaction of your lies going over everyone's head. I was really surprised at how in my group it was the non-gamers that I think won the most rounds, because it's like it's almost more of a test of your social skills than your video game skills.
It's kind of true. It's like a psychoanalytic who is the biggest sociopath.
Oh man, I've won every imposter round. That makes me feel weird.
You are a very good imposter. You are a very good imposter. I think I'm a pretty good imposter.
I've won like
too, but
4.
Matt, you like won 3 in a row, if I remember. But
I
think it was good revenge because you died every time as a crewmate. Like you died.
Everyone
first,
wanted to kill
time.
Matt. I don't know. me and you died a lot. In the beginning.
It's like everyone was like, if we can take out the dad and sons, then like we can just reign supreme. This anarchy wasteland will appear.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's good stuff. And like I think if you treat it like that sort of like get together now and again, the game's gonna have that lasting appeal for a lot of people. It's not like Fall Guys where you're like, hey, should we play tomorrow, today, the next week, and then kind of dies down a little. I'm like, oh yeah, like in 6 months' time, and like everyone's like, oh, we're all together in this chat. Should we quickly jump in and play a game of Among Us? Like it kind of reminds me like a board game.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask why you landed on the number 6 for your ideal player count.
No, it's the minimum, not the ideal. No. The ideal is 10. The
ideal is because you want 2 imposters. You want 2.
You either want 2 imposters or you want or you want one imposter with enough rounds to figure it out and have good discussion. The problem is if you have 5 and God forbid 4, which is the minimum, it ends after 1 or 2 rounds maximum. Whereas if you have 6 and you have one imposter, then you're going to have at least 3 to 4 rounds to barter your way out and see what happens unless, something deadly obvious happens. And then if you get up to 7, 8, 9, 10, you can start adding more imposters, which is definitely more fun because everyone is super sus, but you have more rounds as well. And the longer the game, the better this is, I think, because you're the more it goes on, you get more and more suspicious. You're someone's got to have died by now, but I haven't seen anything and nobody's recalled a report. And I definitely think 6 is the minimum to have a good time with one imposter. You can get away with 2 at 7. We had a really good time with 2 at 7. But the more you play, if you have 10, more rounds, more people moving around, there's a lot to pay attention to.
So when you have 10, do you prefer 2 or 3 imposters?
Oh, 3 is too much, I feel.
3 might be too much as well, I think.
Because they can just kill everybody really quickly. Yeah, because as soon as there's less than 3 crewmates, the game's done.
I think with 3 as well, you can manipulate the voting a bit because of the numbers. You can be because who the other imposters are.
Yeah. Party politics.
Yeah, because you know who the other imposters are. So if you're smart enough, obviously you're not talking to each other, but if you're smart enough to say, I think it was white, and then the other 2 imposters are yeah, it's white, that's immediately 3 votes, right? And then if you only have another 7, you've got to try, the other players have to try and figure out oh no, is that the majority vote we should go for? So you could start manipulating the vote, I think, at 3 imposters.
That just reminds me of my favorite meme that I saw, where it was a close-up of the chat windows. It said, vote orange. And then a little while, another message said, but not in November.
I've loved some of the memes, the videos of people's streams recorded with animations. And it's I saw red go an event. And then the red guy's no, it was definitely black. And everyone's yeah, black's pretty sus. And black's no, it was definitely red. I saw him go through it. And they're trying to because they're I definitely saw it. And everyone's black's pretty sus. I think
there was another fun pun. There was a player named Air. So someone said, I saw Air go into the vents. And then Air responds, that's what vents are supposed to do.
When you see people change their names to different colors and they're purple, but their body is orange, and you're I saw purple. I mean, or I don't There's some really creative stuff going on with it as well.
I love the SpongeBob memes too, but I mean, I just love SpongeBob memes in general. Another thing I wanted to mention is what it's like playing colorblind.
Did you say the Hades SpongeBob meme? Sorry, I thought
I don't maybe.
It was it's Hades asking Zagreus, "Oh, come back again," and he's "It's the SpongeBob meme, yeah, come back again." It's really funny. Anyway, old men talking about memes. Sorry, what are you saying, George?
There's another one where it's dad saying, "Are you winning, son?" every time Zagreus wakes up in the river and has to begin again.
No.
So playing among
George
us.
George, wait. Can we touch on the fact that George went meme lord viral this week as well?
No, I didn't.
With a tweet about Trump's taxes and a.
That yeah. I saw it. I guess before it went meme-ish.
Before it was cool.
Before it was cool. Yeah.
Before George became meme lord popular.
Yeah, if you become rich enough, you can pay the cost of an RTX 3800 in income taxes. But yeah, no, colorblind. I can't help but notice that when I'm playing Among Us, I ended up identifying the characters more by their name than their color. And that's a totally different way, I think, of interpreting what's happening on the screen, because I see everyone else voting for the colors, but I was typing out their names. That's how I was keeping track of people.
I haven't really played a game where I have to type out, because I've always played with people, either voice comms. To be honest, I haven't really played that many games, but I've spent that first long session with the Discord community, and it was long and great, and that's kind of just stuck in my mind. And then I played Under the Bridge, and then I played a couple of games with those friends again. So I've always played with communication somehow, outside of just being able to chat and the thing. The one thing I do like is the ghost chat. The fact that the ghosts can chat to each other. So they can be like, that motherfucker killed me. That motherfucker killed me too. While everyone's talking. That's pretty good. So with typing, do you feel like you get to the bottom of it? Or are you like, everybody's sus?
It's honestly, yeah, to be blunt and honest about it, it's a fucking mess when you combine a real life group talking in Discord with internet strangers who are talking on the keyboard. And I was hoping there would be some kind of team dynamics going on, but that didn't really end up happening because the dice would always shuffle to a point where someone in the real life group would end up being the imposter and still having to play against the internet people. And also having played it colorblind with names and hats being more identifiable than the colors, I definitely think I was, not getting the full.
It was the Viking
the way it's
sheriff.
meant to be played experience there.
We definitely need to organize one then, you, me, and Matt for sure, and then get some of the Discord lovelies in there.
Get a full 10, baby.
To show you what it was like, that first experience.
I absolutely can understand why it's so popular, though. Just witnessing the non-gamers learn the controls and learn the rules within like a 5-minute window, that does not happen with other games.
No, and the fact that it's free on mobile with crossplay, like immediately.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things I really respect and really like from my side of thing is, Innersloth, the guys and the people who made it, especially Forte Base, who is like their biz dev but also coder, have been super open about like all of their stats, like all of their breakdowns, like really good learning tools for other devs about like a lot of things. And I'm in another Discord actually, I didn't realize, about like sort of Steam stats and stuff, and he's in there, for this guy Forte Base, and he was talking about it, and I didn't even realize he was the guy who'd made Among Us, and I was just reading the stats, and I was like, oh, that's super interesting. And he's like, yeah, like our game is doing pretty well, and it's like, oh, your game. Oh, your game. Oh, but yeah, they're super open about all these stats. Like, the tail from like, you can see their English Steam sale tail is like this. And then as soon as it hits 2020, like of early this year, it's like, it's like an explosion.
Do we think it's coincidence or mass hysteria social zeitgeist that the two hottest games among the normies right now, Fall Guys and Among Us, both have extremely similar kind of bean people sort of character design?
I feel like I understand Among Us more than I understand Fall Guys. Is
Actually,
that weird to say?
Yeah. No, Among Us is more fun, I feel.
Fall Guys appeals to kids. I don't know how much of Among Us appeals to kids in the beginning until they play it. I think Among Us speaks to people like us, like people who want to crave that social interaction online, but playing some games with some friends that doesn't require exhaustive competitive brain power. And it's like that perfect entry point to that.
But I feel like the character design itself can't be ignored. Like, these people, they look cute. They're kind of racially ambiguous. They you can self-insert yourself into these cute little bean people, no matter like who you are.
But they look nothing like designs of right now. I mean, they look like Newgrounds Flash designs from. You think about like Newgrounds Flash characters, like the Stickman animations, and like the simple characters of Flash back in the 2004, 2005, 2006 era.
Like, I got those thick lines.
Yeah, those thick black lines, bold colors. It's so Flash anime. Like, it reminds me of Castle Crashers and Alien Hominid.
Oh my god!
Straight off the bat.
Crashers.
Yeah, it's like that era.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that the game just isn't optimized. Like, I'm playing it on a big 32-inch, and like, it's just the iOS version of the game. So all of the UI is super low resolution and looks shit. And you're like, respect.
And you have to click the kill button. You have to click it. Like, I was just like, what button is the kill button? Like, when I first
literally
played,
says kill.
And I was like, wait, what? And I had to click. So I almost
Because
got caught.
I had no idea because I was like press sabotage and then it pulled up the map and I was like, what do I do? Do I press it? And it's like you just literally press the icon of the place you want to sabotage. And I'm like, but I'm halfway across the ship. How does this work?
Yeah.
I think that's exactly the thing that breaks it through to the non-gamer crowd.
Oh,
though.
yeah,
There's
100%.
a lack of precision that the game requires from you, but a lot of different strategies and outcomes that it can go. And pressing the kill button is a fundamentally different way of pulling off some sick strats than the way video games usually demand, like timing and positioning from you. That I saw adapt really, really well to the people who never play video games in this crowd.
Among Us is a good title as well. Among Us
is a very good title. It is a very, very, very good title.
It's very easy. It rolls off the tongue. Among Us. Have you played Among Us?
It's going to alphabetically appear in your Steam library.
Oh, that's some game developer trick there.
Shit.
Oh, that's dirty.
It's true.
I mean,
yeah, I'm definitely interested in playing more of it. I'm not as I mentioned, I'm not that bothered about wanting to hop on it anytime, but if you get the right group of people together, a good hour-long to 2-hour-long session, a couple of different games, you get the chance to be the imposter, you get the chance to be the crewmates, you're in for a good time. It's hard to deny why this game is currently as successful as it is and in the position it's in. And yeah, I mean, sorry to spoil your later points, George, but I think it would be poignant to bring up one of the news stories because of this.
The sequel?
Yeah.
Getting canceled because it's too popular? Oh my god, I never expected to see a headline like that. Among Us 2 was apparently in the works, and then they decided, wait, no, let's just update Among Us 1. How many times have we seen a headline like this? Has this even ever happened before? Or you get on Polygon and see popular game sequel canceled because it was too popular.
I think in this instance, you can kind of gather what happened. It obviously wasn't popular. And then they were like, but you know what? We have 1 million players across some non-English speaking countries. It's obviously got a user base. Let's make it again, but art is better, more polished, maybe some more features, more content, etc. And then we will re-release and see if we can make it again in Western-speaking countries on Steam. But I guess you don't need to do that when you fucking got 60 million people playing it. You just don't need to do that anymore.
It's a little risky. They released a blog post saying that the code base of Among Us is so outdated and not built to support adding much content. However, seeing how many people are enjoying Among Us really makes us want to be able to support the game and take it to the next level.
It's all of the content. 3 people. 3 people. It's only 3 people.
All of the content we had planned for Among Us 2 will instead go into Among Us 1. This is probably the more difficult choice because it means going deep into the core code of the game and reworking several parts of it. First up on the list are going to be some better servers, a real colorblind support, so I'm not going off of names and hats, a friend and login account system, which to the surface level of my knowledge sounds like complete rechanging of how you load up the game and hop in from the ground up. They're going to be adding a new map soon. So there's some concerns, I'm sure, that they have talked through about whether or not they expect this spike in popularity to last long enough to warrant that kind of decision. It's certainly unconventional. I do not remember the last time I saw a plan like this.
Even if 50 to 75% of the user base drop off, they still have 25% more than they had before, and that 25% of the 100% they have now is still 1 million players. So it's even if they lose, if the novelty wears off and they're left with a user base of a million, that is 1 million more players than they had before. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. It makes me laugh. I can feel for them having to go back into that. I imagine starting from scratch with games. I kind of want to do it with Curse to Golf if I make a full version. I just want to like wipe clean the old one and used what I had experience of before and then start again. And I can imagine they really want to do that, but yeah.
Feel free to enlighten us, but I do believe that's one of like the core rules of software development in general. Like it's always easier to begin from a clean slate than rework old specialized code. So what also
it depends on what it just depends what you build it in. I think, I have no idea what they made it in. It looks maybe like HTML5 or JavaScript or something. I don't know. It could be C. But like if you're making something in Unity now, I think it's easier than ever to go in and change stuff because everything is built upon prefabs and scenes. It's very easy to rip things out without, fucking up your entire system. If you're doing stuff in GameMaker, it becomes like it's like a micromanaging of lots and lots of text documents, essentially in static scenes that you can't, or static rooms that you can't fuck with too much. And if you take one out, that's a reference to all of these other things, and then you've taken that reference out, and you've got to look for the other 1,000 objects that use that reference, and then you're like, oh, for fuck's sakes.
Like that is the stuff that turned me off of game development when I was a teenager. Like trying new skills out for the first time. It's totally different nowadays. But Among Us looks like it's a 20-year-old piece of software. So I can't imagine that they feel good about this path. Like it's definitely an uphill climb.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know what the development history of it was, because I can't imagine it was that extensive in the beginning. Like it couldn't have been. I mean, the art never got updated, the resolution never got updated. So I imagine it was pretty small development anyway in the beginning. But yeah, I'd be interested to see. I'll be interested to see how much they can actually do stuff in the future. But yeah. Good on them. Good on them.
I guess now's as we did a small talk and a news. Now might be a good time to go to another small talk.
Hell, throw us away, Hades boy.
Yeah, we want to talk about Hades again? Give us a weekly Hades update?
Matt, have you been playing Hades?
I mean, I beat it multiple times already, and I saw what happened and stuff.
I don't know if I can get the true ending. Like, for some reason, I'm having a way harder time with this game than everyone else. I have a few guesses, though. Joy-Cons are still imperfect, so I decided to switch over to a Wii U Pro controller, which I have an adapter for. And that finally got me to the quote-unquote final boss. And then when I saw that you have to do that multiple times, I'll try. I will try, but I do not know. I have such a hard time with the Minotaur and Theseus.
Oh, what build are you using?
I've been using the shield and the bow and arrow. And I've been gradually working to a place where I kind of prefer to play the game more like a shmup, where I'm dodging around the room instead of button mashing like a character action game.
Use the shield and put Ares Doom on it. That's a really good way to win your first.
What does that one do?
Doom is the one where you hit an enemy and then like half a second later they take damage.
Yeah, it does like a burst of damage.
Yeah, big gap of damage, and you can keep upgrading it with the hammers to get it to like almost 200. So every time the shield hits, a second later they take 200 damage or 150 or whatever you have it at. And you just keep doing that over and over again, and you just gap people's life. And so for that Minotaur fight with that other guy, that Olympian guy, you just keep tossing it around the room. It's a very, very easy way to win.
Theseus is way easier than the Minotaur. It's just the Minotaur in particular. The other thing I noticed upon reviewing footage I've been recording is that I think I'm sitting too far away from the screen for a game that has a lot of tiny little bits of motion that really do look like a very different image when I'm watching my video footage on my computer monitor in front of my face versus when I'm sitting in the living room, sitting 7 feet away from the screen. So are you guys playing on a TV far away on the other side of the room, or are you playing on a monitor up close to your face?
Playing a monitor up close to my face. I don't think I would want to play Hades on a bigger screen, like far away.
when I looked at the footage on a big screen in front of my face, it was like being Neo in the Matrix. Like it looked slow motion compared to what I was playing from a distance. But yeah, no, I did. I finally beat Hades. I really, really enjoyed that ending. The like way that game captures the poetic misery of Greek mythology is just absolutely positively beautiful. But boy, oh boy, did that get way, way harder in the final stretches than what I was feeling last week when I was starting out.
I did jump back in this week after you talked about it because I haven't played 1.0 version, and obviously on Steam I had it already, and I was having a blast jumping in and playing it. It's a really good game, and I tend to only have good runs with this spear that you can throw, but I only have good runs if I get the spear turns into a shot. So like you throw the spear and it doesn't stick in the ground. It's like a shot. So it's like you're firing shots, like lightning strikes,
nice.
pretty much. And like you shred bosses. Like the twin snake thing, you can just stand at the bottom and just fire it. Just fire it. Like, and they can't do anything. And I'm having a good time, but I realize my hands really hurt after playing it. It is a lot of button mashing.
Yeah, it does that to me too.
So much button mashing. And I was kind of like, I'm having, you guys know, like problems with my wrists recently, like working a lot and stuff. Hades, like, I can only play one run. And I'm done. I'm done for a while. And I don't really necessarily get pulled back in. I really like the designs more than anything. The narrative is really fun. And I think all the voice acting is sick, to be honest. But in terms of the actual gameplay, I'm like, yeah, I had good fun and I'm kind of happy to move on now.
Yeah, so am I.
Don't really feel the need to play it again.
I've seen what I need to see. I don't need to see every single detail of every single conversation and get everyone's little hearts up to maximum. I don't think
give all the gifts to Cerberus, you monster.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Like I love their games. Like I love their games, but like it's a lot to do. Like I just want to move. I just want to beat it and kind of move on to something else. Like I don't know if I have time to grind something else, something out for another 10 hours.
It reminds me of getting the true ending of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker.
Why?
The ending of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker required you to replay some very difficult missions over and over again and see a similar story loop again and again and again until the final true ending. Hades does do something similar.
Oh, God. What am I going to do with you?
So I saw the true ending for Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker on YouTube instead of on the game console, and I'm worried. I'm worried I'm gonna feel tempted to do it with Hades.
You probably will do it with Hades, but it wasn't hard. Peace Walker wasn't that hard. I got the true ending, and I didn't even end up doing a video of that damn fucking game. That game is a fucking fuck. My God, that is a weird game.
Because of my controller issues and how far away the screen is from me, I think and because I'm an old man boomer, I'm having such a more difficult time with hate. When I get on the internet and see people like, oh, I started up Hades today and I didn't even notice 10 hours go by when I beat the final boss. Like, who are those people?
I can absolutely see why both.
Are they ninjas? How did they get those reflexes?
People are like that. People just play games over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I'm not like that either. So I can't understand that. But people like it. They like that getting so good at the game and having all their heat completely cleared out. Literally, they have to put up everything to get full heat. If you know that system at the end of the game, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
What I'm more concerned about is whether or not these people are actually like feline cats pretending to be humans. No. Like they're seeing everything in slow motion compared to me.
I can understand why. I think with a few rounds of Hades, you get used to the speed. I think I don't think it's that hard to get past the first two bosses. Pretty much every run. But that's
They're
like
a cakewalk
pretty
compared to
easy.
the Minotaur.
Yeah,
The Minotaur,
it's like but it
ooh.
is like a 20-minute slog, right? You know, you die, you go back. And I think for some people that is fine, right? The thing for me that breaks it up, and whilst I love the narrative beats and stuff, they get in the way of the wanting to jump back in and try again part that other roguelikes like Spelunky or Noita have, where you can literally just like, you die, bump, jump right back in and play again. And I can play those games for like hours on end because I just want to retry and retry and retry. So for me personally, the narrative gets in the way of my ability to want to jump back into the game to try it again, especially if I just had like a 20-minute run that ended. I'm like, I don't want to do that again. But for some people who both like the gameplay and the narrative carries them. I mean, you can't argue with Super Giant's narrative style, right? They're famed for it, and tie that with good gameplay. I can understand why these people are like, I'm playing like 10 to 20 hours of Hades. I finished it 4 times. I can understand both ways. Like, if the narrative doesn't carry you into wanting to play that run again, then that's fine. You had a good time. But I definitely see why people play this game over and over and over again, wanting to see those little things.
I mean, those voice lines change. They change as the story progresses. After you beat the game multiple times, they keep changing. It's pretty crazy.
A lot of the voice lines will talk about some stuff like if you do some cheesy tactics that are just completely one-sided against the enemies, Zagreus will be like, "Oh, that's what we're doing, huh?" And one thing that gave me a sting is, I mean, I grew up on a childhood of FPS games with a quick save button. Like, I am conditioned to quick saving and quick loading my way through games. And whenever I die from that Minotaur, my brain goes, I want a rematch right now. And you can't do that. It's a 20 to 30 minute, depending on how much time you spend with the downtime to get back and get your rematch.
Yeah.
And Zagreus, when he died from the Minotaur, he woke up from his respawn point, looked around and said, I want a rematch. And it just like, that made it sting even worse, because it's like, they knew when they wrote that line that a lot of players are going to immediately want to jump back in and find out what they were doing wrong or observe the boss's patterns. There's so much at stake when it takes tens of minutes to retry lost progress that even, like, when you're fighting Ornstein and Smog in the middle of Dark Souls and Hades, in my opinion, put the hardest bosses in the middle of the game rather than the end. You can walk up a staircase and try them again, and in Hades, you got a ways to go before you can get back to this game's version of Ornstein and Smog.
Yeah, it is a bit frustrating, and that's kind of the double-edged sword of roguelikes, right? Once you get better and better at them, it becomes a longer and longer experience to try and finish them.
It's still getting easier and easier with each run, but boy, oh boy, that Minotaur is...
One of the funnest things this game does that I think is what keeps people going is, of course, I mean, they've smashed the quality. Like, hands down, smashed the quality. The designs, as I mentioned, remind me of, like, Shin Megami Tensei god designs. They're fantastic. They have such great personalities. But the menus tell you how many more times you interact with them, and you will unlock, like, the next part of the story with them, and you're like, oh, if I meet Ares 2 more times, he'll tell me more about, like, fucking slaughtering people. I want to do that.
Really?
Yeah, in the
What
menu.
is it? Oh my god. And
it's super smart.
Tells you how many times you've given them drinks.
Yeah.
I noticed that the heart fills up, but I didn't.
No, like, if you go into the codec, of the different characters, like, it says journal updated. Yeah. It'll tell you. It'll be like,
Yeah. Okay, no, I do know what you're talking about now.
Buy 2 more boons off Ares, and you'll have another interaction or something. Another key point will be unlocked, something like that. That's really smart, because people really like these characters and they want to know more. So it's good shit.
It's good.
So there was one menu that totally missed me back until way too late, and that's the weapon aspect upgrades is something that I missed until...
I haven't looked into that yet. I did notice that. I was watching Barry stream it, and I was like, Barry was doing some stuff I'd never seen before, and I was like, oh... Yeah, there's definitely more to this game.
Yeah.
If you find that menu, you can turn the shield into a slow-moving Beyblade that bounces around the room, and then if you find a boon that turns your cast into a blade rift, and then also further upgrade your character with some chthonic key unlocks in the mirror. You can increase your cast count and have just a bunch of spinning tops flying around the screen while I'm running around in circles, like kiting the enemies into these traps. It's still good fun.
Yeah.
I have genuinely enjoyed that game despite getting really frustrated at that Minotaur.
There's 4 aspects for each weapon. There's a lot to unlock. And you need enough Titan blood to do it. It's so much.
I don't know if I want to recommend changing to a different weapon for every run, though. Like, it seems like you have just as much to gain from sticking to one weapon and upgrade it as you do from playing with other weapons to get some story unlocks from the diversity.
There's definitely play styles, and the fact is the boons change how each weapon plays. So there's a lot to experience with each weapon first. So if you find a weapon that you're comfortable with,
and you unlock more stuff if you play with different weapons.
I prefer this system to like the usual. You just have one weapon that may or may not spawn per run, as in like a Nuclear Throne style roguelike.
It's a good game. It's a very, very, very good game.
I like it better than Enter the Gungeon. I like it better than Nuclear Throne. I don't know if I like it as much as Spelunky 1, though.
I just started playing Spelunky 2's PC release that came out an hour ago, and I'm looking forward to jumping into that. I love how quick runs are because I die all of the time. But it's good fun so far. So I'm looking forward to playing that.
I feel like with Spelunky, I can get my rematch if I die unexpectedly.
Speaking of hard games, I've seen that Matt's been playing Blasphemous.
Oh,
Blasphemous.
So I went back and played some games that I didn't quite like at launch. Death's Gambit and Blasphemous. A lot of patches later. They're all clean now. I beat Death's Gambit yesterday. They're short games. They're short little Metrovania games, and I enjoy them. Death's Gambit, both of these have voice acting and everything like that, and the story is quite nice. Death's Gambit is more regular, more fantasy, and it was actually pretty good. It has mixed reviews recently on Steam, but
I've never seen this before.
It's pretty good. Because like no one talks about it. I guess it's not much online about it. It's weird, but of course, anything Metrovania comes out, I'm really like, oh, so I've tried it way back, but now it's all patched up and stuff, and it does feel good. They're coming out with a DLC, and it's gonna significantly change the game. So I'm probably gonna replay it at some point, because they're gonna add new weapons and stuff like that, because it needs it. It needs it. There's like only one dagger in the game, and only it's missing stuff. But what's there is really good. Really good.
That pixel art though. That is gorgeous.
It's and there's like the bosses and stuff, the way they move, even though it looks a little floaty, like the way he walks, the animation is still there.
Yeah.
It's quite good. It's quite good, and all this stuff is cheap. Blasphemous is a tier above, I would say, in terms of presentation. Because the bosses, the voice, the atmosphere is just sick in both ways. Just disgusting, and also just like really like it's not dark. It obviously like inspired by Dark Souls. Obviously, a lot of things are, but like it's more religion based. And it's just the things you see, the cut scenes that are pixel art, and it's a little just disturbing to watch in some cases, and it's just awesome. It's like is it Planescape Torment? There's a recent one that came out a couple years ago.
Tides of Numenera is a part of that IP that.
Oh yeah, we talked about that, didn't we? Like
2016-17 release, one of those years.
Maybe I played a game like that. It was like a point and click game, and it was really disturbing as well. But like this is kind of the same thing. This is good. I haven't beat this one, but I've gotten pretty far. This is significantly harder. And the platforming drove me nuts the first time I played it. Now it's a lot easier. I don't know if they've patched it a bit to make the jumps feel a little bit normal or
I think
not,
there was some
or I've
quality
just
life
gotten better at
improvements
video
that
games.
I think there was some quality life improvements because it comes with like their final DLC, right? Like a big new update.
Yeah. It's like at
Okay.
2.0 now, version 2.0. I'm pretty sure they have fixed a lot of shit. Pretty sure they
Wow,
fixed a
they
lot
called
of
it two. That's a whole nother installment. A whole
Yeah.
digit.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, and they have the DLC as well with it. So like it's that one, if you're looking for something disgusting and a 2D game that's a Metrovania, an actual Metrovania, that game is definitely it. Like you can customize a lot of the stuff your character does. And I haven't even scratched the surface of that game. That's a good one. That's a good one. And I think they're both pretty short. So if you're looking for like one of those short experiences. But yeah, that's tasty.
I
That's
want to
a
play
tasty.
Blasphemous, but I like something just puts me off a little bit. I don't like it's nothing to do with like the game itself or like the way it looks or any of the blood or anything. I it's just when I watch it in motion, it feels like
It's what you're not gonna like, which I hate, is that the dash does not have iframes, and you cannot rub up against enemies. You get hit. So you have to time your dash right before you touch the enemy to slide through them if they don't have a shield up.
Yeah.
Because if they have the shield up, you automatically hit them and you get bounced back. It is frustrating because Death's Gambit and a lot of many games have iframes when you dodge and when you dash.
Yeah.
And I love iframes. Like it feels good.
Everybody does.
It feels good.
Hades has fucking tons of them and I love it. You dash through
Yeah.
everything in Hades.
I wish real life had iframes.
It does, George.
So you could dodge. I want to dodge those income taxes.
Just in your mind. When you dodge a bullet, you can, if you're fast enough, you can get iframes and the bullet will just pass right through you, unharmed.
Yeah. I'm always just kind of worried, when playing dodgeball, that I'm just gonna dodge into the ball. But if I could get some iframes on me IRL, then
or you can get
I just be dominating.
You get Athena's blessing, and you can deflect the dodgeball.
Deflect your dodgeball
back at the attacker. Yeah, some Hades, some Hades. I want to do some Netflix no chill real quick.
Oh, me too. After you, Matt.
Yeah?
Me too.
Okay, I'm gonna be quick because I've watched a lot. Yeah. So like, I'm thinking of ending things. This is a good one.
Oh, good. That's the title. Yeah. Phew. Woo.
Oh, it's weird because I read the document as an entirely different thing. I was like, you seem pretty upbeat recently. I don't expect you to.
I know it like the movie. She like literally says throughout the trailer, "I think I'm ending things," and you just don't know what the movie is. Yeah. What?
For listeners who don't know, we've been talking about Hades and Among Us this whole time while looking at our podcast outline document here. When I saw Matt type down in all caps, I'm thinking I'm ending things.
I think I'm thinking of ending things. I don't know what the title is that. And
thank God it's the title.
It's this movie. Oh yeah,
yes,
I know which one you're talking. I didn't watch it, but I was very intrigued, so I read the plot synopsis.
Oh my God. Okay. But like it's a weird movie. So if you've watched, I talked about a movie a long time ago called The Lobster, right? With Colin Farrell, I think his name is. That movie's also weird, but it's also so interesting to watch. This is that type of movie. And if you love The Lobster, you will love this. It is just random ramblings of just deep shit. and it's so interesting to watch. That's I loved it. I loved it. It's one of the I've watched a lot of movies like The Platform and all that with bad endings. This is no different. They're all just unsatisfying endings. But they're supposed to mean something that ah I just want something to end properly. But yeah.
So this film was made by Charlie Kaufman, right? So he did Being John Malkovich and what's the big one? Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So he's made pretty wacky films before.
Yeah. I'm thinking of ending things. There it is. That's the title. I'm thinking of ending things.
So you're saying that I'm thinking of ending things didn't fully think out its ending of things?
No, I think that's just the way it is. I think it's a book. Is it not? Isn't it the book or like some type of?
Yes, the film is based on the 2016 novel of the same name.
Yeah. It's a book. I think that's just the way it is. It's weird. It's weird. It's not a regular movie. Like you cannot go into this thinking that you're gonna have a beginning, middle, and end. This is not that. This is something weird. And if you like weird, you're gonna like that. If you spend your time watching indie weird films, you're gonna like this shit. I like this shit. I watch everything. And I also watch The Room and The Disaster Artist right after. The Room is still fucking bad.
Okay.
It's still fucking bad. It's still sex scenes all over that poor girl. And then now I watch The Disaster Artist and see how uncomfortable in the room was. I feel even worse about it. But also, like, The Disaster Artist was kind of fucking good. Kind of really good because it showed that Tommy had something to bring to the table, almost. Like he was teaching right in the beginning of the movie. There's this scene inside of the restaurant with the character who plays Mark,
Greg
and
Sestero. Yeah.
and
I'm a
he was-
big buff
he
of
was
this stuff. I
afraid.
love these.
yeah, and he was afraid of projecting in front of people, acting in front of people. And Tommy was just like, do it, whatever. And he's just like, just
Do
says it in the
it,
middle.
whatever.
It's so good. I mean, it's obviously Tommy's weird as fuck. He's weird as hell.
Yeah. There might be something legit wrong with him.
Is something wrong with him? Yes. And he has a bunch of money, a ton of money.
And there's a huge story behind that is even weirder.
Yeah, and I would like to actually look it up. Yeah, and
I would recommend the audiobook if you ever got time.
Yes. So I was going to say, I read the book and it's fascinating,
It's
but
fantastic.
I didn't watch the movie until actually rather recently, probably maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And I was
Yeah.
looking forward to it. And then it just passed me by. And I watched the movie and I was actually kind of disappointed. Like I personally,
because it
I was
wasn't the
like,
book.
not
Yeah,
that it wasn't the book.
is
I also-
better.
I
The
also
book is
just
better?
don't
Okay.
I ended up not liking Tommy. Like I didn't like James Franco's Tommy. Like not that he was
really?
bad, because he's amazing. It's just that he's a prick. He's like he's a dick. Even though I know what Tommy Wiseau is like in real life, and he seems like a character, and like he's hilarious to see videos of. But like in the movie, and you get it in the book a little bit, but it's hard to see the personification of it. He's a dick, and then by the end, I just felt bad for Greg. Like even with the movie theater thing at the end, like where he's like, "It's your movie," he's like clapping him. It made me not like Tommy Wiseau, and I was like, I didn't expect that I was gonna feel that way. So it was a little disappointing to me.
With the book, you absolutely have more time to explore the humanity of Tommy, but some of the antics he gets up to in the book are even worse than the movie.
That's true.
The movie also has a much cleaner, like Hollywood mass audience happy ending sort of deal going on, whereas the book leaves you feeling emotionally complicated about whether or not Tommy made the world and his life a better place or not by making something so bad that it did become so good that ended up fulfilling a weird postmodern ironic version of the American dream. It's a complicated, wonderfully human story that is absolutely, I think, one of my favorite books of all time. And Greg Sestero's narration is incredible and hilarious. But there are so many sides to that man's life and his backstory and wherever the hell he came from and whatever the hell he did to learn English and whatever the hell he did to gain money that they simply could not explore in the movie. In the movie, everyone's a more cartoony version of like the real human beings that have like a reason to be a dick in the book. Like it's a hard life lesson when you think someone's just a dick and then you find out, oh, there's actually a really long, complicated story and a lot of like contributing factors that maybe contributed to this person being a dick that the movie does not have as many layers about.
You know, it's funny because the movie made me like Greg a lot. Is Greg really is he a good actor now? I know the difference. I know the difference. I know knowing an actor personally and then filming them and seeing them not do a good job. But you know the person in real life and you're just like, huh. Right? I've seen that. Like they're good people, but they just can't act. You know?
I don't know if Greg Sestero's IMDb page is very flattering to look at.
Yeah.
And in the book, he talks about his other big acting gig at the time was playing a like young version of the main character of a schlocky horror series called Puppet Master. And hearing him describe like fights with his girlfriend and running out of money and having to eat trash while going to work to play young Puppet Master is so surreal and funny and depressing. It's this soup of complicated emotions that are like real, like a nonfiction biographical take that leave you feeling like more of a human by the end of that book.
Funny fact, I have a friend called Mark who lives here in Kyoto, and he plays in a band called Nice Legs, and they're quite well known here in Kyoto. They play gigs all the time. They're really good. And Mark's amazing. He's so obsessed with The Room and with Greg and Tommy that he reached out to them a couple of years ago. Like, if you ever need any music for a film, like you can have my tracks or songs for like free or whatever, royalty free. And a couple of years later, Tommy and Greg got together to make a movie. I think they're called Nice Friends or something like that, or Real Friends or something. And they used Mark and Lauren's song on the trailer. And it blew Mark's mind. Like, I think, I can't remember what the specific details were, but like he was like, "Oh my fucking god!" He lost his mind.
Damn.
Yeah, pretty fucking cool. That was funny.
I wonder if Greg would have became a better actor if he actually took that thing up with Bryan Cranston, man.
Maybe.
That makes me feel bad.
That happened,
makes me feel really bad. Because sometimes like you go to a different path in your life and something changes. You see something and your brain just clicks and you're like, I can get better at this thing now. But because he went a different route.
And with experience, you start to be able to read those path lines. And you're like, I know where that ends and I know how far that one could potentially go. And it's interesting.
Yeah.
One of the scenes that I wish they included in the movie that was in the books was when Tommy was making the crew watch 9/11 coverage. And he was like making them wave flags and wear the lapel pins and like say a prayer to America. And as the book goes on, this thing at first seems like really obnoxious and unnecessary. But then you find out that like Tommy might have died if he didn't move to this country. Like, he might have died from the poverty and crime that he escaped from, and he ended up building a fortune through potentially suspicious means and living his dream. Like, of fucking course, someone from that perspective and that background might be a little bit obnoxious with the 9/11 American patriotism stuff back in 2001.
Where's he from?
no one really knows for sure.
How's that possible, though? How's that possible?
Greg Sestero suspects that what he did was immigrate to France from a post-Soviet country that collapsed in the 90s. He learned to speak English from American movies, but does it with this off-French accent that he then took with him to a family of extended relatives somewhere in his bloodline of humanity to New Orleans, where he got into jazz culture. And that's why Greg suspects that is why he keeps comparing his writing style to like Tennessee Williams' Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. He then moves from one weird artsy culture town in the U.S., New Orleans, to another one, San Francisco, and proceeds to learn more weird, like culturally filtered English American culture from that, where he may or may not have hooked up with a very suspicious, potentially illegal loan to get out of a life of selling tourist trinkets on the beach to owning warehouses of clothes that he would then sell off, all to build a fortune to make the movies that he learned English from as a kid in his impoverished, crime-ridden country that he grew up in that he won't talk about. And then I start thinking back on people I've known in life, like I've known immigrants and the children of immigrants who spent their first few lives living in horrific poverty conditions. They're embarrassed to talk about it. They won't, like a lot of people I know who come from that background do not like talking about their childhood from where they came from. And seeing like that kind of story resonate with people I've known and how there is a kind of logic behind how weird this guy is a mind-blowing degree of beautiful storytelling that I don't think the movie could really capture unless they went for a completely different tone.
Yeah.
Fascinating guy.
It's hard to take it serious when Tommy talks like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he acts the way he acts. Like,
yeah,
that's the thing, right? It's not just his voice, it's the way he acts, right? And the way he thinks about things. He's obviously not all there, let's say, right?
Yeah.
He's not a normal guy just with a funny accent. He is an eccentric person, and then their accent has become a part of that persona, and I don't think he's putting it on. He obviously has some sort of I don't know. I don't want to say he's
when you're seeing it
stupid, but yeah.
Because when you're seeing it on screen, it could get really uncomfortable if they go for a serious tone. You know, and that 9/11 stuff would have definitely pushed it over the edge.
Yeah, like The Disaster Artist is the movie is a comedy, and the book is just it's funny. I can't deny it's not funny, but like you laugh and you cry.
Yeah, the best thing about the movie is the fact that Tommy Wiseau ended up on the press circuit, or the press junket, as you'd say, with James Franco, and just ended up on loads of TV interviews. That was a great time.
I wonder how he felt about that.
Probably like he was back in the limelight. Like, this is it. This is why he made The Room.
Like, it's crazy to think that the shitty movie that they ended up making
turned into a pretty good comedy.
Became so popular. Like, there's a lot of shitty movies out there. There's a lot.
But this is the most famous shitty movie of all time. And in that respect, like, he made it. That is the American dream. Like moving away from poverty to make a fortune, following your dreams. Like, that's what we all want out of life. And
there's a secret beauty to something that isn't just bad, like poor quality. Like, it's just bad. Like, it's bad with a capital B. Not just a mediocre bad film.
Oh, man.
Like, it's made bad. It's casted bad. It's wow.
The movie also could not get into the latent homoeroticism of The Room that Greg Sestero explores in the book, too.
Yeah, dude. The friend I was watching with, they're like, are they? She's like, are they gay?
Yeah, it's
right.
Wait, no, she's gay. No. Oh, no. Tommy likes him. Oh, no. Tommy likes him, too? Like, no, she was expecting for some relationship to happen at the end, and it never happened. And she was like, "Wait a minute, he just kills himself? Like, that's it." I was like, "Yep."
There's a lot of uncomfortable bisexual tension in the room that you would not notice until you dive down this hole of the disaster artist.
Wait, okay, all right. Let me ask a question then. There's the scene in the park. Was that actually real when they were tossing, and that was actually real? It looked like they were playing in the film in the room.
According to the book, that was shot way after the other scenes in the movie, and they did not have permission to shoot in the park, so they did very, very quick takes that they would like hustle up inside a van, spew outside of the van, do 2 or 3 quick takes, and then pile back in the van before any cops could spot it.
Oh,
so
okay.
those takes were
fight.
rushed. They were unauthorized.
So it wasn't.
Oh, you mean the shoving?
Yeah, there was a fight in the movie.
Tommy, come on.
That happened on a closed set. That was part of the script. The acting, is not good. They probably didn't rehearse as much as they should have, but that was at least on a closed set.
Oh, I don't think you know. All right, so in the movie, they fight in the park.
Oh, you're talking about the Disaster Artist movie. I thought you were talking about the Room movie.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. They fight in the park, and
I
then
remember.
the room,
I remember now. Yeah.
They don't look like they're actually fighting. They look like they're playing.
I do think
so I
that
wonder
might
if
have
they
been
just
added to the
put
movie.
a dub over, and they were actually fighting on the floor, because it looks like the same shot in a Disaster Artist and in the room.
I think that was thrown into the Disaster Artist film version to give the climax more tension. Liam, do you remember that scene in the book? Because I remember that being
them having a falling out, but I can't remember if it was in the park when they were meant to be filming the football scene. I
don't remember them actually having a real fist fight like they did in the Disaster Artist movie version.
Gotcha.
So just before we move on, I just want to say, actually, I have been watching a lot of TV recently. Kind of in that middle ground where, games are coming out, so I'm kind of holding off. Like, I've been excited for Spelunky 2, and, Baldur's Gate 3 comes out in the next week or so. And
wait, next week?
Yes, October 6th. Yes.
Oh, dear.
Early access, my friend. Early access. Yeah, baby.
Oh, early access. Baby. Okay, phew. I'll not panic. You guys can have fun with that.
But there's a couple of games coming out. So I've been watching a lot of TV, and I'll just rattle off some that I really enjoyed. I watched the first season of The Boys, which I thought was pretty good.
Okay.
That's good fun.
I want to watch that.
Yeah. It's good fun. I haven't watched season 2 yet, but the first season was really good. I watched a comedy called Chasing, which has Phoebe Waller-Bridge in it, who I am now a huge fan of. And that was good fun. And then I watched Killing Eve recently, the first 2 seasons of that, which I don't know if you've heard about that, guys. Killing Eve, very good TV show. Very good. Not on Netflix. Kind of hard to get hold of if you're in Japan, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Killing Eve. I just want to note that JD Comer, who plays Villeneuve, is sort of the antagonist of Killing Eve, is a girl from Liverpool who is so good at European accents and so good at speaking different languages that she is fucking incredible in that TV show as the character. It's a great, if you're kind of into a little bit of spy comedy, but with serious tones, it's pretty gruesome at times. She gets up to some nasty shit. Sandra Oh is the main character. She's Eve. And she's great as well. It's a very good TV show, and it's written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who was in this comedy I watched. She's in Fleabag as well, but I haven't watched that yet. Anyway, watch those shows.
Is good.
So Phoebe Waller-Bridge. So she's the main character in Fleabag, right? She's Fleabag. Yeah. She wrote Killing Eve.
I like Fleabag.
So she wrote Killing Eve, and
that means I gotta watch it then.
It's fantastic. It's really, really good. I really enjoyed the first 2 seasons.
God, man.
And it's such incredible good acting in it, and it's gorgeous to look at. The cinematography, it looks like a movie. Like a James Bond-esque European fantasy kind of movie. Gorgeous shots of Tuscany and Berlin and Paris and everything, just so Eurocentric. It's gorgeous. But the one thing I wanted to point out, and this is probably just a me thing, I'm a huge fan of the regular show. It's my favorite. It's my favorite Cartoon Network. I love that show. It means a lot to me. And J.G. Quintel, who made it, recently released after 7 years his new adult animation, which is called Close Enough. it was originally meant to be like a HBO Max thing, but then because coronavirus happened, it got delayed and they never released it. So they released it like some other way. But it recently came to Netflix, and I was so psyched and so surprised, as I had no idea, and I didn't think I was going to get a chance to watch it. And I finally got a chance to watch it. And as a huge regular show fan, and was kind of bummed out that JG is making something kind of serious, and I said it's really good. It's so heartwarming, and just like if you are my age, which both of you are, if you're listening to this, and it doesn't matter if you're female or male or non-binary or anything, and you have maybe like a job or a family, and you yearn for yesteryear of having fun as a young teen, and those video games you used to play and pranking your friends, like if you yearn for those, but you're living in the modern 2020 world, this animation, this cartoon is fucking for you. It's so referential to like growing old, and that's the whole point. It's like kind of an it's an autobiography in cartoon form of JG Quintel's life, of him having a kid, marrying his sweetheart, and like them not being able to pay the rent, like living in LA. And it's great. It's so heartwarming, and the character Josh, who's the main character, he's fucking great. Candice the kid is amazing. Emily's amazing. It's a great show. It's really short, 20-minute episodes split into 2 10-minute episodes each. There's 7 episodes. It's awesome.
I see that Weird Al Yankovic is involved, which
he is in one episode. Yeah,
it usually means that the thing he's cameoing in is probably going to have like a squeaky clean reputation and positive, wholesome vibes. That's his style. So when you say adult animation, does that mean it's like edgy and bloody and violent, or just kids would find it boring?
It's maybe like Rick and Morty levels of edgy. It's like, it's not Family Guy. It's not like that level, but it's definitely more Simpsons, Rick and Morty levels of edgy in terms of like
Rick and Morty is pretty gross.
Yeah, Rick and Morty gets.
Yeah, but it's edgy in like a gross teenager kind of way, right? It's not like that adult. Like there's a bit of swearing. There's drug references. There's getting fucking stoned a lot in it. Like it's not Cartoon Network. Like, even though it came from Cartoon Network Studios, it's not a Cartoon Network channel level cartoon. And it's kind of just about growing up, but growing up from the perspective of somebody who is now 30, right? It's like somebody who has gone through their 20s, has been hit hard with the fact that they now have a kid and they have responsibilities. And it's kind of about that. It's about, what life is like.
I kind of want to watch it.
Yeah, I do.
And Matt, honestly, I think you'd have a great time. It's really hot. I've watched it twice, because I watched it once with myself and then I watched it with my partner. And like, it's just like the episodes are short and sweet, and they're kind of fantasy like. They use cartoon to extend reality a little bit, but it's very grounded. I had a great time, and like I was so happy because JG Quintel made Regular Show, and Regular Show for me was such a great cartoon it's so amazing. Like if you watch Regular Show, it's about 2 dudes who are literally like early 20s bums, just play video games, earn like minimum wage jobs to just dust around with each other. And then he made this, which is then about the next stage of life after that. It's so cool to see. I really enjoyed it. I'm really happy it turned out the way it did. Yeah, it took a while.
Max, HBO Max is killing.
It's on Netflix now. Well, it's on Netflix Japan, so it should be on Netflix America.
No, they're separate. They're separate things, man.
But I had a blast, and I highly recommend it. It's a quick bingeable watch, and I hope we get to see more of it, because I really, really like the characters as well. Yeah, Josh and Emily and Candice are awesome, so it's good. Good shit.
I wanted to say something quick about Antebellum.
Antebellum.
Okay. Yeah, you can look that up. It's a movie that you're on Twitter and you saw. I was like, oh man, because I was looking up, like Lovecraft Country was out, and I think Jordan Peele was like not in it, with it, maybe a producer or something. And I was like, oh man, like a lot of like black like films and black TV is coming
Oof.
out, like more
Mm.
like gritty and stuff because of Get Out and
Yeah,
Us.
and Us and
Ooh.
Yeah. So I was like, oh shoot, this is like another one of them. So I go down and I watch that. That is a bad movie.
I just looked at the tomato meter. It's at 28%.
Yeah,
Oof.
it's not
It's got Monet in it, Janelle Monet.
yeah, she's what sucks.
Really? Well, she's a musician, right?
Yes. She's a musician and she's been getting into acting, but I gotta say, the movie is dumb. Like, half of the movie is okay, like it works, but her acting is so amateur. That's like a good way to describe it. Like, it just doesn't fit the scene. Like, it looks good. Like, imagine something looking good, like an SNL skit, but they're acting weird. Like, that's what she makes the movie feel like. And in the other half of the movie, they're just making stupid decisions. And it sucks because the girl from Precious in there, and she's fucking phenomenal. There's a lot of people in there who are great, but she sucks. And then whoever wrote the movie really messed up, or maybe it got messed up in editing. I don't know, but maybe a combination of both. They end up doing something like, I don't want to spoil it if people want to watch it, but like, imagine someone, if you're trying to be quiet and they end up not being quiet and nothing bad happens to them. That's how it's unbelievable bullshit, like stuff like that, like just throughout the last half.
What is it about? Because the trailer goes from like
It's-
slavery
I was
to
gonna
modern
say, yeah.
day.
Is it like time travel or like?
It's oh wow, the trailer spoils it. Damn.
Maybe not the logic behind it.
Is it like some
but-
Assassin's Creed history, go back in the Animus type nonsense?
or like parallel stories of a girl and her ancestors?
Okay, you know what? I'll spoil it. If you guys want to actually watch this terrible movie, then yeah, whatever. You know, like,
I think I'm good.
Skip 5 minutes. Skip 5 minutes. Basically, in the beginning of the movie, it's like this slavery movie, and then this girl comes to the camp, and she's like, "I'm from North Carolina. I know you. Where are you from?" And she was like, "Virginia." Like, because it starts off as a slave movie, everyone's talking like slaves and stuff like that. But this girl, it's like the new recruits come, and she's like, "What the fuck is happening here?" Basically, you learn that they were all kidnapped and brought to this little secret place, like the village.
Like the
And-
village?
Like the village, like this secret place where all these white people can live out their fantasies. It's pretty fucking bad. Like, and I was just like, ugh.
damn.
But it's not done well. So it ends up just being fucking weird. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to make a movie about white and black, right? If we're going to go this route, you can't fuck it up. You can't fuck it up. You gotta, and it's not like they're like, oh, white people are bad. They didn't do that whole thing, but okay.
Man, oh damn.
There is a scene, right? Like, so once you find this out, a cell phone rings from and of course, she's obviously the white general is having is over her place, and yeah, and his cell phone rings, so she knows that he has a cell phone. She keeps like the smartest thing in the movie is you see her throughout the movie always trying to find which wood on the floor doesn't creak, because she slowly uses it to get closer to the window to hear what he's saying.
Dun, dun, dun,
And goes back, yeah, and then she uses it to escape very quietly outside of the room, to use the cell phone to try to call for help. Right, the whole movie she's practicing these planks on the fucking floor, finding the wood, and then it gets thrown out the window. She gets the phone. They're hanging out in front of the house, talking to each other. Oh, the phone. Oh my God. Blah, blah. Like the whole time. Anyways, I'm not going to complain about this movie. It sucks. It fucking sucks. It drove me insane that a movie can look this good and be this fucking bad.
It's weird because the twist, like the twist in essence, the same as I feel with The Village, is a good twist. Like in The Village, it gets you if you've not been paying attention.
I like M. Night. Yeah.
And I like the idea in theory or on paper here, but it has to be like pulled off well.
It has to be pulled off, man. It's not pulled off. She takes too long. The scenes take too long when things are meant to be fast paced. There are people around. There are other slaves around. Why aren't they coming outside while you're fighting? The guy is yelling out loud. And then his friends come? Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. None of it makes sense. Especially all of the whole ending, the whole last half. None of it makes sense. It drove me nuts. Anyways, that is enough. We don't need to spend any more time on this shitty movie. It is a bad movie. And it's not even The Room bad. It's just a bad movie.
Like, yeah, not fun. Like, just mediocre
it's
bad.
Not fun to watch. Don't make it about racism and if you can't fucking pull it off. You know what I'm saying? Fuck. Aggravating. Take my black card. Shit sucks. Shit fucking sucks.
Man, it's going to be weird going from that to wherever next.
The news.
We don't have a lot of time to talk about the news, which sucks because, last week was the newsiest week of 2020, right? Stuff still kept happening, though.
I can sign in to like one bit of the news with a bit of my own story from this week. I pre-ordered an Xbox Series X.
One of the lucky few right here.
One of the lucky few.
Has it only been a week since we talked about that?
Well, I mean, the pre-orders went up last Friday. So, yeah, it's been over a week since we talked the big stuff.
Holy shit.
And, yeah, we were unsure, but I went ahead and I pre-ordered from Amazon Japan an Xbox Series X, and they sold out within 12 minutes in Japan. 12 minutes in Japan.
Wow.
But you got it before the 12 minutes, right? You don't have no back ordered.
The 360 sold pretty okay, like GameCube levels of numbers, but like not that great. But yeah, it seems like Microsoft are doing a really big push, and stuff like Game Pass is hard to deny. So tying this into the stories, just to answer Matt's question, actually. No, Matt, I was getting refresh access errors for 10 minutes because so many people were trying to access the page on Amazon, and I had to keep refreshing, and it was at about 10 minutes past 12 when I managed to get through, pre-order, hit the button, and then within 2 minutes after that, it sold out. Everybody I know in Kyoto or in Japan who's trying to order one, mostly Western people, couldn't get one. I think only one other person I knew was able to get one. Pre-ordered from Amazon. I think there was a couple from the Microsoft store, but they also sold out.
What is going on? Why do things constantly fucking get sold out? All the cameras sold out. All the graphics cards sold out. All the consoles
more cash. People got more money now. Not spending
coronavirus. There's more demand and lower supply.
Oh my God.
But so to tie into the news story for this week, I'm pretty happy with my purchase after yesterday, which was when all of the Xbox Series X previews went live. IGN, GameSpot, VentureBeat. VentureBeat's one, Jeff Grubb, was the best one.
What we got?
And so what I was saying, so we were talking in the Discord with some of the fans, and they asked me why with Series X, and like, to be honest, personally, from my standpoint, is that both consoles are not next gen yet. Demon Souls, maybe we can see, but there remains to be seen any sort of next gen titles, right? And until we see the next God of War or Final Fantasy 16, etc., I honestly think both consoles have to try and offer to the user what is the most optimal way to play current gen games right now. You know, your Cyberpunks, your Gears of War, your Witcher, your whatever, right? What is the most optimal way to be playing those games in 4K instead of buying a One X or a PlayStation Pro on your big TVs? Because most people have got 4K TVs now. What is the most optimal way to be playing those games, right? And honestly, 4K Game Pass with smart delivery. So if I buy Cyberpunk, I can play it for free on my eventual Xbox Series X. It's so hard to deny that, right?
What you think it's going to be on there? Is it going to be on?
So no, Cyberpunk seems to be not coming out day one on next gen. That might change. Yeah, I don't know, but it's free. It's so if I buy the the Microsoft Store version, I think I get the smart delivery one. I'm not sure, but
no plans. To
Game
be on
Pass
Xbox
is so
Game
hard
Pass.
to deny, right? I get all of those Game Pass games day one, and I get games like, so here we go, backwards compatible games from Game Pass on Series X at 60 frames in 4K.
It boosts the frame rate. How? What? That's weird.
I get Sekiro in 60 frames on day one. But that's not all. So the previews, I mean, so this is why the story is that the previews are that obviously a lot of backwards compatibility stuff get like massive bumps in
what about
performance. Ghost? I mean, that's a PlayStation game, so who knows?
Oh shit, it is.
But games that are locked to 30, like Sekiro, get 60, like PC version. But it's the quick resume. Have you guys seen this?
No. Oh, is it the same thing where you can pause and then play another game and then
you can pause
right.
and play another game, and you can stack 6 games running at the same time?
We talked about this like a year ago, didn't we? And you were like, "I love this. I love this so much." What happened? Did the Xbox One never did it?
No, I think they did, but it was One X, and it was like you could only do 2 games, and it was really slow and not very well implemented.
Gotcha.
But according to the previews, it really works, and it's like good shit. Like 8 seconds to get into another game you've been playing, and you don't have to pause it and save it and close it and then open another game. And
it's kind of insane.
So the previews have been fairly it's fairly, I think, is being an understatement. I've been very positive. Like it's using an SSD and the load times and the quick resume and the 4K native 60 frames. A lot of people are saying already that this is kind of what we should have got with the One X and like the PlayStation Pro. Like we should have foregone, that, and we should have just jumped into what the PS5 and what the Xbox are going to be doing. This is not to say that they're next gen though, right? So it goes back to my original point, which is how can you play the most optimal games? How can you optimally play next gen games right now? And it seems like Series X is going to do that, especially from these previews. So I'm kind of chuffed that I managed to get a pre-order. I was, gunning to have one of the two right now. And like I'm thinking when Cyberpunk comes out, I mean, Yakuza the 6 comes out day one as well. And I'm like, I want to play that in 4K on a big TV, working really fast and everything. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see. I'm amazed at how positive the previews were, considering there's no next gen games, but I guess we'll wait for the reviews and see what happens.
It has an NVIDIA graphics card, right? In the Xbox? I know it has an AMD CPU.
All of the previews kept talking about the SSD, like just saying the SSD is like a game changer, like an absolute game changer.
More about the hard drive this gen than the other.
Because if it has the DLSS 2.0, the AI upraising, then I mean you'll be able to get 4K pretty easily all the time. I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing anyway. The whole 4K.
You should take a
they're
look
not
at
really running in 4K, but it looks like 4K.
The 2 previews that were the most useful, I think that covered a lot, with the Digital Foundry one, of course, from a tech perspective, but also VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb. his one breakdown of like different games and also like how it feels to have the console and stuff. I still think personally the console is kind of ugly. I don't know until I hold it. I think both of them are ugly. The Xbox Series S, the white tiny thing, looks the nicest, but yeah, I'm intrigued. And the previews have been very strong, so we'll see. Only a month to go.
What the fuck, man?
This thing has backwards compatibility going all the way back to the Xbox 360.
No, all the way back to the Xbox.
Oh, fuck. Well, now I guess I can play Jet Set Radio Future.
Jeff Keighley was playing Blinks, the time traveling cat for the original Xbox on it.
Digital Foundry threw the Xbox 360 version of GTA 4 in there, and it doubled the frame rate to 60. And what I'm very curious...
No PC has ever been able to do.
That's not true. What I'm curious is...
It is. The game is so poorly optimized.
It is, but 10 years after it came out, I was playing some sick E and B shaders on it at 60 FPS, so take that. What I'm really curious to see is if per-game compatibility is going to be like for these frame rate upgrades, because that can break some frame-coded game logic and stuff. Infamous example being Dark Souls 2, when you play it at 60 FPS, your weapons degrade faster. So I'm wondering if like...
So that's why Microsoft have said, like, and they said, I think with the Xbox One backwards compatibility, is that it's like a slow release because they need to test rigorously every game to see what they break. And also, I think they're making partnerships with devs and they're like, hey, do you want to go back and improve your game so it has like ray tracing lighting or at least HDR and stuff like that. So whilst backwards compatibility is a thing, I think it's still selected titles because they want to keep rein on making sure that nothing like that Dark Souls 2 thing happens.
Yeah, I'm wondering how differently a lot of these games are going to end up playing. Because I like stuff like The Darkness was an early Xbox 360 title that still kind of pushed it pretty darn hard. Like, that game is originally in a letterbox mode that I think was locked to 60 at the time, and it never got released on a other platform. Like, and I'm real curious to see what some of these old things, like Red Dead Redemption 1 especially, is something that I'd really like to take a look at a higher resolution and a smoother frame rate to see how they made that stuff look so gosh dang good on 720p back in 2010.
Yeah, I'm excited that I can play, Sekiro 60 frames and also potentially skate on a next-gen console on November 10th.
Wow, I mean, Digital Foundry, this is a good video. Like, this is a lot of games that he's testing. This is not bad. 60 frames, solid. Instead of it just being, like, random, like 40 here, 50
I think
here.
it feels the way I felt when I bought a PS4 on launch day, which is apart from Killzone, which Xbox doesn't have that next gen thing. Apart from Killzone, I had NBA 2K12 and I had Assassin's Creed 4, the pirate one.
Black Flag,
that was it. Black Flag, yeah. So they were cross-gen titles. And they were on Xbox One and as well. So it feels like it's that. But like, how can I play these games better? How can I play them in 4K on that TV I bought in the summer in fucking huge 60 frames? I'm excited. I'm mildly excited. I know I'll get more excited because nice shiny things come and everybody gets excited. But I'm happy that. It seems like I'm getting more this time than I ever have on launch before. With the Switch, maybe we got Breath of the Wild, but I get there's a whole library of games immediately.
Yeah.
With Game Pass that I get to play that I'm excited about. But yeah, only time will tell.
Yeah, this is that's not bad. 60 frames, man. Oh, 60 frames in Warzone?
I imagine so.
Probably not. Probably not.
If Matt's PC can't reach 60 frames, then nothing can.
Nothing can. That fucking game is. Anyways.
Oh, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a day one release.
Oh.
Looks like I'll have to play that.
Is it going to be on Xbox Game Pass?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I lost a lot of interest in that when I saw actual gameplay versus the sick pre-render movie trailer.
I haven't seen it. What made you lose interest?
Because it looks a lot like Odyssey, and I've played Odyssey to
Oh
death.
no. I don't want Odyssey. I don't want it.
I wonder when we're gonna see more of that Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice sequel, because of like the next gen previews I've seen, that's the one that I think hit me the hardest. The facial capture in the movie they made, but it's a movie, it's not gameplay, so you don't really know.
Oh my god. It does look the same.
I'm sorry, Matt.
Wow, they made the trailer look so different.
Yeah, they did.
It looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
God.
So I was hoping that might be a visual jump in quality going from this gen to next gen, but I suppose my next big dose of that might be with the Demon Souls remake.
So I'm interested to see. I think that's truly the only game that could possibly be next gen. I like, and even then when I look at it, I'm like, the ray tracing is pretty good, but
It's a remake, right? It's a remake.
yeah, it's a full on remake.
Yeah.
It looks like they kept a little bit of the stiffness though. There's a little bit of the stiffness, right?
It feels like a Dark Souls game just with prettier graphics, I imagine.
I don't want to call it until it's in my hands.
It looks good though. It does look good.
In the gameplay demo, there's a few spots where you see your character teleport in and out of different poses with no interpolation. But I don't want to worry about that.
Yeah, it looks like Demon Souls. Like this is the Dark Souls I actually beat. This is the one I actually got through.
The only Dark Souls you beat wasn't a Dark Souls game?
It wasn't a Dark Souls game, man.
I wonder when I'm going to get too old to beat Bloodborne. My reflexes are going to keep diminishing to the point where I can't play my favorite one of those games anymore.
I don't know. I seriously don't think I'm a gamer because I just never have the juice to finish any of the Dark Souls. I just don't. It just doesn't grab me enough. I play hours and I just stop. I just stop.
Honestly, if Demon Souls looks good and comes out, and
I might replay that.
there is a PlayStation 5 I can find, I will buy it.
Oh, that's right. It's gonna be an exclusive. It's not gonna come out for PC.
It's exclusive to PlayStation 5.
Come on, guys, please.
I want the digital version of the PS5.
I do not believe that.
It'll come to PC as well. Yeah.
Eventually.
Wait, sorry.
Well, then that means it's not exclusive.
Yes, it definitely will come to PC because nobody
okay.
makes marketing materials without the information. That was just a big...
Yeah,
they
officially made the mistake announcement.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a big bait and switch. Because why would you be like, you can play our games on other platforms?
Yeah.
Okay, then. I'll play it on other platforms. Thank you for telling me, Sony.
It's going to be interesting.
The Epic versus Apple lawsuit got its first big step forward update, I think, yesterday. And it's a bit of a hit on Epic's side. The judge has decided that they're going to put it up to a jury instead of having a bench trial instead, saying that the opinions of ordinary people are probably going to matter more than these tech-savvy industry insiders.
Ordinary people.
Quote, "It's important to understand what real people think. Do these security issues concern people or not?" The judge was being kind of critical, kind of admonishing Epic's decision to deliberately break the Apple Store rules. They pushed some deadlines back to the point where the trial is going to be happening in July of next year. And what I thought was really, really funny is that we're reaching a point in history now where these crusty old judges are actually kind of video game savvy. Judge Gonzalez Rogers here is a 55-year-old woman, and yet she knows her shit. She was highlighting the oddity of Epic's arguments, comparing a smartphone to a video game console due to size reasons, by referencing the existence of the Nintendo Switch. Quote, "I think this is going to be a fascinating trial. Walled gardens have existed for decades. Nintendo has had a walled garden. Sony has had a walled garden. Microsoft has had a walled garden. In this particular industry, what Apple is doing is not much different. Yeah.
It's gonna take a while.
She must have played D&D back in the day, man.
Right?
Yeah.
She must have been a paladin or something.
She was
Ranger.
born in the late 60s, very very edge with like a Gen Xer. So I'm a little happy, at least I think, about this ruling, that the early stages of this are in the hands of someone who seems to, she's not a 76-year-old tax dodging millionaire who made a montage of violent video games to justify fear and panic among a population she's trying to divide for her own purposes.
No references there.
None whatsoever.
I'm still shell-shocked from being a YouTuber for 10 years and getting shitloads of hate on various days, depending on what sort of subtle names I throw in there. But yeah.
Wait, what?
When I did my 2016 year in review video, which was the last year in review video, I decided to begin it by mentioning how shitty things were going to be looking based on some Trump quotes from a televised debate in which he was talking about evading taxes, and also the All Access Hollywood tape where he was talking about how when you're a star, women let you grab them by the pussy. And boy, oh boy, did a bunch of alt-right edgelords really take the torches to the comment sections on that one. Man, fuck them.
Yeah. Wait, I'm not surprised. I was gonna say, did he really say that? But I was like, you know what? I'm not surprised, because I've seen that man say so many things, man. Like, I literally, like, I would go and I will watch a press conference and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to stop getting more and more information about Trump.
What I always say to people who like use the argument that the media is manipulating his messages is to just go see his messages by themselves without the media. Like, try to sit through a 90-minute long Trump press conference with no editing, no commentary. Try to scroll down his Twitter with no editing or commentary. It's all fucking awful.
It's pretty bad. Anyways, I dived into George's Trump talk.
Do some listener questions, fan interactions.
Yes,
how not wrong could that go?
Yeah.
We're a little skimpy on email questions. If you would like to buff us up in that regard, send them off to dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com. Until then, we have some Patreon Discord questions to go through as well, but I'm going to start us off with a really good inbox question. Dan K says, "Hey Dad and Sons, what's your favorite minor aesthetic touches in games? For example, I really enjoy games like Bully or more recently Death Stranding, where you have a safe house that gradually fills with items and tokens as you progress. Another favorite is how in Civ 6, each Civ has a culturally representative theme song that will start playing in your game after you meet them. What are your favorites, and how do they contribute to your enjoyment of the game as a whole?"
Definitely musical motifs for different areas of games. Easily. I mean, that's not aesthetic, but it is pleasing. And is a nice touch.
Counts as aesthetic.
I like, for example, when you are in different places in a game like Zelda, and you have very iconic music in different areas, especially in Breath of the Wild, where it's very slight and it's different variations of the motif. I really like when games have big OSTs. I want to say Undertale is probably a really good classic example now of like you have a theme everybody knows, and then you edit upon that theme depending on the character, and you change it to fit around the personality or the area of the game and all that kind of stuff. And I think I really like that. I'm a big fan of music in video games, so whenever they adjust it for the world to give it more character, I think that is one of mine.
No one talks about it for some reason, but Crysis does a damn good job of that. Crysis has a main theme that it catches throughout the whole game that it changes depending on the combat encounters, but it does so much to make the game's aesthetics feel directed. There's coherency behind it all. There's a definite mood that the whole game has that theme carries throughout it. Yeah, it's in my head, the Crisis 1 theme. I might want to go back and play Crisis OG soon. Don't know about this remaster that just came out though.
What about you, Matt?
All I can think about now is the jingles you hear in Tokyo when you're taking the train.
Yeah, so there you go, right? Like combinis as well, like different combini jingles. Like I think character through music or leitmotifs and stuff makes games really strong, and that's why we have very specifically special video game composers who nail that. Like we were talking before we even started, like about the Hades music, right? And we were saying that title screen, dun 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 dun, is like it rings so like in your ears, and you're like, I'm in the underworld. I'm in Hades. Like
and they carry that theme through the whole. You hear that jingle and boss.
Yeah, you hear
music
it,
and
but
stuff.
you hear it in different variations to match
When you
whatever
die.
the surroundings are. It's very good. Character through music is definitely one of mine. What about you guys? Anything aesthetic, like visually?
I'm gonna talk about menus again. Speaking of remasters and remakes that just came out, Mafia 1 had a fairly well-reviewed remake that just came out. And that reminded me that game's main menu is sexy. Oh, it's so good. I adore it when a menu is like a desk or something. Or like the paperwork files in GoldenEye that you flip through. When the menu represents something teleological inside the game's world, it does so much to help my brain in particular, more so than other people, I think, get immersed in the game. Like if I'm playing a medieval RPG, I want the journal to look like a papyrus paperwork with inked handwritten instructions. If I'm playing a historical period piece, I want to shuffle through some analog paperwork with no electronics lying around. It really bums me out when I see a game have great menus have a sequel that forgets about great menus. Like well designed menus do a lot to push my immersion level up to the next notch.
Menus, when done right, I mean, it goes for all UX, right? Like when done right, you don't notice, but some stick in your head. Like transitions in menus are for me the big thing. Like let's take Persona games, right? Those menus and those transitions. That's the good shit. So transitions are excellent as well.
Like if the inventory looks like the backpack they're carrying, I'm all about that stuff.
What stands out to you, Matt?
Yeah, I was trying to think of this game. There's a couple games that do this, but I like a game when the hub world that you're in changes based on what you do in the game, or if you're either the choices you make or the things that you gather. And I guess like I guess it's kind of like the safe house, but there's like there's ones where like the whole town will change. Like things like for instance,
Bastion.
people will move into your town. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love when you go out and you meet people and you bring them back to the town. It's kind of like Blasphemous and Death's Gamma is the same thing. And then like so every time you come back to the hub world, there's actually something new to see. There's always someone new to talk to or buy something from. I always like that kind of thing because if you have to backtrack to the home world, you want to make it interesting. And Death's Gambit, you go out and you find people and you bring them back and you get to learn like additional abilities from those people.
Dark Souls does a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah, and that's cool. And some of them actually die, and there's like a murder mystery going on there. Like it's there's a lot going on. I love like having this like background story for like a hub world going on, not just like collectibles, but actual things going on. I kind of like that because it could just be a whatever. Like Ori, the Will of the Wisps in Ori did that too, where there's like people would come back.
Hollow Knight has that going on as well. Some like good character building, like you
yeah,
you're like, I remember where I found you and I helped you out. It feels player driven.
Oh my god, Hollow Knight.
Like this resident of the town is someone that you made. I did that.
Hollow Knight is truly, truly masterful.
I like when they have their sort of own routines. I am a bit more wary when you meet a character and then they fill a slot in an area. You know, like there's the blacksmith, right? And you knew he was always going to be there and you were going to meet him at some point and he just sits there. Or like there's the crafter, and like you end up having like this round circle of the same people. Just, you know, you just fill the slots in instead of this like town where people revolve around a little bit. Saving people in Dead Rising in the storeroom, in the safe room. So yeah, that was pretty good example of that. And how that changes stuff.
Yeah, you know how hard the struggle was to get their AI to follow you through the crowd to safety.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Oh, we speaking of Persona, we got a Liam question for you.
Oh, okay.
Alex S says, "Hey, Dad and Sons, love Persona 5 and Royal. P5 Royal got me through lockdown in Scotland while off work. I've gone back and enjoyed P4 Golden. Is Persona 3 Portable worth playing? Because I don't want to pay hundreds of pounds for a PS2 copy of Persona 3 on eBay."
First off, I think Matt's more the Persona guy these days.
Really?
But yeah, Matt's like full on 5 and 4. Like he knows.
I didn't finish 5, but I did get like 40 hours in. Because until it exploded, my hard drive exploded.
Yeah.
I'm not playing that again. I'll play Royal later.
3 is my own personal favorite. I love 3. It's the first one I played. I love it so dearly. I'm going to interject slightly. While I say this, George, go pee.
I think I can hold it. We're almost at the finish line here.
My superpower of knowing when George needs to pee, which is super easy to tell.
The portable is just a port, it seems. I'm looking it up now.
It's a port on the PSP. So
yeah.
It uses a weird control scheme. Like you basically like hover a mouse almost over like control points, and then the character walks between those points, so it just automatically transitions between doors. It is faster. It misses a little bit, but I think it's totally worth playing if you want to experience Persona 3. If you can, you know, you can play it on the PlayStation Vita or the PlayStation 3. So totally give it a shot. Persona 3 is my own personal favorite. It has a fucking amazing soundtrack. It has a dark storyline. I really like everything about it. It was my introduction to the Persona series, and it holds a very special place in my heart. It's the same kind of grind towards the end as P4 and P5 are. It's not as stylish maybe as 5, and it has a darker cast of characters that are maybe not as fun as 4, but I personally really, really like 3.
I mean, literally, they shoot themselves in the head. This is the Persona I started with, actually.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So Persona 3, Invoker to the head. You know, get that Persona. And I like the Personas.
I might go back and play it too.
I like the general Personas in 3 a bit more, like the starting Personas. But it's a great game. It's a good JRPG. If you totally want to give it a shot, give it a shot. I think portable is not a bad version to do.
It says it's on PlayStation TV, so maybe you can get it on the PS4 if you got a PS4. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how that PlayStation.
I think all you need is a PS3 controller and the PS TV, and you can just HDMI that shit up, and then it works. So if you got hold of one,
PlayStation TV is a thing. It's like a box.
It was literally a PlayStation Vita, but in a box. So you could plug it.
What?
And you can play Persona 4 Golden.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait,
it was basically a PlayStation Vita you can plug into the TV.
It's $500 because it's discontinued.
Whoa. Oh, right. That's why. Because when it was about to go off sale, it was literally $10.
I don't know where I heard this or why I know it, but I might have an inkling of a thought that PSP emulation is pretty good these days.
Yeah, you can just emulate it on your computer. I mean,
I'm sure you'd be able to find a way to play it. And yes, if you're interested in playing it, you should definitely check it out because Persona 3 is totally worth playing.
And the thing about emulation is that you can up-res it as well. There's a lot of good up-resing tools now. So,
and you can probably mod it.
But it's always nice to play it on the original platform, so I can understand that. It's always pick up a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 controller. And
I played Persona 3 my first month of university, September of 2009, on a PS2 because it's all I had. I had no internet. nothing from home. I just had a PS2 and
Mm.
had Persona 3. And I woke up every morning, had a rooibos tea and some toast, and played Persona 3 for most of the day until my lecture started.
Man,
It was a
dude.
good fucking time. And that's why Close Enough is a really hard watch, because I'm 30 now and I can't do that anymore.
Man, the old days, man, responsibilities were real low.
They were real
Really
low. All I
low.
had to do was fucking level up my personas.
So, speaking of the good old days, last but not least is a Gorg question about the bicycle tour I did in 2011. Dario, which rhymes with Mario, asks, Dear Dads, love your show, listen to it at work, and I'm slowly listening through it in reverse order. You're the number one podcast in my heart. Thanks, Dario. You're the number one listener question of the week in my heart. This is my listener question for Gorg. I've heard you mention that you were robbed on your cross-country bike ride. Can you tell us the story of that and or any other misadventures that happened? Yeah, it's a funny story. So, like, the moral of that bike trip, and I will totally admit that a lot of this might have been up to luck and privilege, was that it really restored my faith in humankind. Despite getting robbed, despite running into, like shitty racist people every now and then, it was like a hard lesson that, wow, 98% of the people out there in the world are actually pretty normal and all right. It's just the 2%. When I got robbed, I was quite pleasantly surprised at how easy of a process it was. I just kind of went to bed and woke up and my bike wasn't there. I never heard or saw them. It's like reverse Santa Claus. And also, I don't even know how, like, much I was blaming myself how much I really felt guilty or bad about it, because that was also the one and only day of all 56 days that took. I think it was 53, kind of think of it. That was the one day I did not lock it down. The one and only day I did not lock my bike down on a picnic table in the park I was camping in by a lake was the day where I woke up the next morning and my bike was not there. I'm guessing what they must have done.
Where was this?
It was at a park in Texas at a lake, and it was a pretty crowded, populated one, so I thought I'd be good, but I guess at night that place really, really empties out. You were allowed to camp there if you didn't have a big group. I'm guessing what they must have done is parked a truck far away enough where I couldn't hear it, and they just walked up silently, picked it right off the picnic table I had it leaned on in, and carried it away without me noticing a bit.
Mm.
Also, when you bike 10 hours a day, you go to sleep. Like, that is the best sleep I've ever had in my life, and I don't know if I'll ever sleep as hard as I did. So they probably would not have woken me up anyway. But yeah, I did get robbed by the 2% of bastards that are out there, and even then it was pretty consequence-free and easy. First thing I did was call the police, who just kind of drove around the park in a circle and said, "Nope, we didn't see your bike anywhere. Tough luck, buddy. Bye."
Thanks, dickheads.
Right? I heard that they're supposed to give you rides for free if you're in a pinch. And I was maybe 20 miles out of the city, College Park, Texas.
Jesus.
I had to call a very expensive taxi ride to get back into the town, walk to the bike shop, buy a new bike while carrying like 50 pounds of bags on my arms, and spent about $700 that I wasn't able to pay back until the following year. But I still got it done. I still kept going, and I did not let that stop me or bum me out that much, because if you're ever going to get robbed, that's a hell of a lot better than Matt's situation went.
Two dudes coming in. Oh, we're going to take everything. We're going to take everything.
I was not hiding in the closet fearing for my life. It's like, that's how I want to die. Just go to bed and wake up and that's it. Like I did not know I was getting robbed. There was no fear at any part of the process. Even when I walked out of the tent, like, I was in the outdoors and could see there was no one around for 60 feet in every direction. So I wasn't worried they were still stalking me or anything. Of all the ways I could have gotten robbed, that was definitely one of the better ways that could happen. Okay, so now I think I can go to the bathroom. Oh.
And with that, this week's episode comes to an end.
Does it?
I believe so.
I think I got another hour in me.